Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, an arson investigation out of Inez underway. One man faces charges. We'll go over those next.
A man from Austin says 5 of his family members were kidnapped by Hamas. All this based on a TikTok video he found.
And Pete Sessions of Waco placing his bid for House Speaker.
Much needed rainfall around the area at this hour. Most of it is decreasing, but tomorrow with a little bit of sunlight and heating, we're going to pop another round of activity. In fact, most of this week will be on the wet side, so have your umbrella handy and be prepared for it and enjoy it. We'll have more coming up in just a moment.
And we had over 5 high school football teams in the top 10 at the beginning of the year. Now we only have 3. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. Several residents at the Summerstone Apartments woke up to the smell of smoke and determined there was a small fire inside one of the apartments. It happened around this morning when a resident noticed smoke filling up their apartment. That led to an evacuation of that apartment and the apartment above it. Rita Yabera is thankful the fire was not any worse.
We saw the smoke coming out of the hall. We got everybody out of the house and then it started flaming up a little bit inside the water heater. So then we got the people from upstairs out for their safety, you know what I mean? So we got everybody out of the building so everybody's safe, so that's what mattered.
The cause of the fire was a malfunctioning water heater near the bathroom. A fire was contained and no one was hurt.
Around 4:30 this morning, firefighters were busy with 2 fires in Inez. The first one destroyed a home in the 1300 block of Live Oak Drive. A short time later, in the 200 block of Live Oak Drive, firefighters found 2 camper trailers on fire. No one was hurt.
Authorities believe the 2 campers and home were set on fire on purpose. They have this man in custody on other charges right now. Deputies arrested 32-year-old Cody Dale Dawson around 6:20 a.m. as he was walking along FM 444 near Salem Road. Deputies say he became violent. He's now charged with 2 counts of assault of a public servant, resisting arrest, and possession of a controlled substance. Charges of arson are expected soon, and he is held without bond. Now, Warren police arrested Richard Cantu Jr. of Rosenberg. Cantu is a suspect of an RV that was stolen from a Wharton business in the 600 block of North Richmond Road. The RV was recovered and Cantu is facing felony theft charges and additional charges are pending.
Hallettsville police arrested 22-year-old Lane Jeffrey Wright of Hallettsville. He is accused of evading in a motor vehicle. Wright was arrested after driving a motorcycle at a high rate of speed, which turned into a brief chase. The chase ended near the intersection of FM 2314 and East 4th Street. Wright is in the Lavaca County Jail in lieu of $25,000 bond.
And now let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis. Mac, what is our holiday Halloween weekend weather like?
Well, that's going to be interesting. I'm going to have a lot of detail on that coming up in a minute. Right about now, we're enjoying today's rain. The rain has sort of ended right about now, and that helped our temperature. We're down to 82 degrees. We managed to get up to only 83 because of the cloud cover and the shower activity. How much rain did we get? Well, officially, we got 3,500 out at the airport. That brings our month of October to 2.63 and our year to 28.21, 6 inches still below normal. More rainfall expected this week. We'll have more details on that coming up in a moment, and Halloween as well.
Mac, thank you. The Israel-Hamas war has sparked a series of violent crimes in the U.S. Today, we head to Michigan, where homicide investigators are searching for a suspect and a motive after a prominent synagogue president was found stabbed to death outside her home.
While authorities had not linked the Jewish leader's death to anti-Semitism, the case points out growing concerns over potential violence.
In a world increasingly polarized by politics and prejudice, the sister of Samantha Woll wants to know who would kill a woman known for loving everyone.
You fought for everyone, regardless of who they were or where they came from.
Samantha Woll, a synagogue board president and prominent Jewish community member, was found fatally stabbed outside her Detroit home Saturday. Detroit police gave an update on their investigation Monday.
We have a number of people that give us interest. We are just short of calling one of the people a suspect.
As of now, police say there's no evidence anti-Semitism was the motive. Still, national security officials are voicing concerns that the escalating war between Israel and Hamas could spur increased violence in the U.S.
We remain very concerned about the lone wolf incited to violence by an ideology of hate.
Near Chicago, the mother of a 6-year-old boy stabbed to death last week is herself now home from the hospital, recovering from her knife wounds. The family's 71-year-old landlord is charged in the case. Police say he allegedly attacked them because they were Muslim, and a federal hate crime investigation is underway. Illinois' governor making an appeal for peace and unity Monday.
To show our Muslim and Jewish neighbors that we stand with them, to chart a new course, one of solidarity, justice, and humanity.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
In another Chicago suburb, a protest and counter-protest led to at least 2 arrests. Several disturbances broke out and 2 citizens were hurt by pepper spray.
Yeah, and in Minneapolis, police say a car deliberately drove through a crowd attending a pro-Palestinian rally Sunday. Authorities have not made an arrest and no injuries were reported there.
More than 2 weeks has passed since Hamas militants began their massive assault on Israel, terrorizing that country. An Austin man says he found out through a Hamas TikTok video that 5 of his family members back in Israel were kidnapped during the surprise attack. He said he learned last week that his aunt was found dead at the Gaza border, but he still has not heard any word about his aunt's partner, his cousin, or her 2 young daughters.
The fact that we're still looking for any kind of relief, any kind of news. Are they well? Are they not well? Are they still alive? It is a day-to-day, it's an hour-by-hour struggle. It's not easy, not for me, not for my family, not for anybody out there who have a missing and kidnapped people by the Hamas. We just don't know anything.
He also has a half-cousin who is missing, but he does not know if he is among the hostages. Meanwhile, the Israel Defense Forces continue to fight back, killing hundreds in Gaza. U.S. leaders are asking Israel to delay its ground initiative so more hostages may be released.
Massachusetts State Police are searching for 33-year-old Aaron Pennington. He's accused of fatally shooting his wife over the weekend. State Police say he may have a gun and should be considered dangerous. Police found 30-year-old Brianne Pennington dead from a gunshot wound to the face. Pennington is believed to be an Air Force veteran driving a white 2013 BMW with Massachusetts veteran license plates that reads 8A30. The car could also have the Texas license plate that reads DTZ3103 or a California plate that reads 6CWN728. There's only one candidate from Texas running for the U.S. House Speaker seat. Congressman Pete Sessions, a Republican from Waco, was elected to the House back in 1996. The Texas Tribune reports the 68-year-old Sessions will make his case to the rest of their fellow Republicans in a forum tonight. The Republican conference will vote Tuesday morning on its nominee, who will go before the full House at an unscheduled date. His father, William Sessions, was the FBI director during the 1993 Branch Davidian siege.
Early voting in the state's constitutional amendment election is underway. Proposition 3 would ban the imposition of a wealth tax. This proposition would ban the imposition of a tax based on the wealth or net worth of an individual or family. Election day is Tuesday, November 7th.
Here's your viewer poll this evening. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote. The question is, how do you plan to vote for Proposition 3? Are you for it or are you against it? According to our results, it's looking like 36% are for it and 64% stand against it. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And of course, we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 10 after Monday Night Football.
Oil and gas giant Chevron has agreed to buy rival Hess for $53 billion. It would give Chevron even greater access to U.S. shale production in Texas, a part of the industry where Chevron was a leader for years. That plus Hess's large oil assets in Guyana. Chevron plans to use that edge to increase buybacks of its stock to $20 billion a year. Critics slammed oil companies for buying back billions of dollars of stock instead of easing the pain for consumers at the pump or investing in renewable energy.
And a quick reminder, the EPA is hosting a public meeting in Port Lavaca from 6 to 8 p.m. Tuesday at the Bauer Community Center. Expect an update on activities at the Lavaca Bay Superfund site. The meeting concerns the red mud lakes near Cox Creek on the eastern side of Lavaca Bay. The EPA is considering additional sampling for mercury in that area that may be making its way into Cox Creek and onto Lavaca Bay.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Charges in a Title IX trial against a former Baylor football coach have been dropped. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, the reasons why.
And a mother in North Carolina loses her son due to domestic violence. Her fight for change up next. Mission after her child died in a case of domestic violence.
Jesse Melvin, a 3-year-old, was killed by his father, and since then, Christy Melvin has dedicated herself to speaking out for legislation to protect children.
He told me he was going to kill my son. He was going to hurt me like I hurt him.
In 2012, Christy Melvin got the courage to leave her abusive relationship once and for good. Not long after, he was awarded joint custody. Christy says her estranged husband shot and killed her 3-year-old son, Jesse Ray Adams, and then himself, all while on the phone with her.
I just gave in to joint custody. It's not something that I felt needed to happen.
Since then, Christy has been working with Veronica Hadden to push for Jesse's Law, a piece of legislation that works to prevent children from being put in the care of abusive parents.
And every year, about 58,000 children are awarded custody to abusive parents in the United States. They say about 969 children have been murdered.
Benjamin Weston, Director of Development at Hope Connection International, was a victim of domestic abuse as a child. He wishes Jesse's Law was there when he was a kid.
You're going to save their lives and physically, and you're going to save the relationships of everyone that they come in contact with.
Melvin tells me her son was a funny, sweet kid that followed her everywhere. There isn't a day that goes by that she doesn't think of Jesse.
Why would I not want to change things for other children and their families? Why should I not, use my pain, my hurt, to help other people not have to do that, not have to go through that.
Supporters gathered Sunday at the North Carolina State Capitol to honor Jesse and others who have died due to domestic violence.
KCEN reports a U.S. District Judge dismissed former Baylor football coach Art Briles and former Baylor Athletic Director Ian McCaw from a federal Title IX lawsuit, stating there is no reasonable evidence to find them guilty of neglect in a case involving domestic violence assaults by a former Baylor football player on a former student. The judge also dismissed gross neglect claims against the university, but will allow the jury to determine if the university was neglectful.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is recalling a Retriever brand dog food due to potential salmonella contamination. The voluntary recall covers TFP Nutrition's Retriever All Life Stages Mini Chunk Chicken Recipe Dry Dog Food. The product was distributed in several states, including right here in Texas. There is a risk to humans if pet owners don't wash their hands after touching the product. Dogs with salmonella infections may be lethargic, have decreased appetite, fever, diarrhea, and vomiting.
Well, good evening, everyone. You see that most of the rain activity in the city and in the county is pretty much over with for the time being, but it's just the beginning. This was much needed rainfall, and we're going to get more for the next few days. And then we'll be talking about the Halloween forecast. All that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Well, last week we promised you the rain. Well, good, the rain is here finally. We had some nice rain in the city earlier today. At this hour, you can see how much of it has moved to the north, but that's not it. It's not over with. All that streaming into basically the jet streak. You see how this almost a line of moisture. This is the remnants of what used to be that hurricane on the west coast. It looks like much of North Texas getting the bulk of the activity, although there will be more activity to deal with for the next couple of days. All of this in green, as you can see in Victoria, means up to a good inch of rain. All right, so everybody got something. If you got in the blue, you got more than 2 inches. So it looks like Nixon and out there toward the Karnes County area, they got a little bit more than we did, but it is not over with yet. We're probably going to see another inch or two out of this in the next 3 or 4 days before we finally arrive at the weekend. As you can see, heavier activity out in West Texas. These are the highs for tomorrow. Forecast highs, so we'll be in the mid 80s. This is not a cold front. This is actually all that Pacific moisture coming up over the mountains. Tonight we'll only get down into the 70s, so it's on the muggy side of things. No cold air just yet. In the light green, you see generic possibilities of showers, but the heavier stuff right here is at a marginal chance of severe weather way out in far west Texas, Del Rio, Monahans, that area. And again, tomorrow as well, it looks like that's where the real brunt of the leftover hurricane is moving through. But we're going to be seeing more shower activity as well. And as we get to the weekend, though, we're waiting for the big front. And we'll talk about that. So let's look at your Monday. And then we go on into Tuesday. You can see how that streak continues going through there. But then when the low bottoms out and starts to pull up, that's when we will see the best chance for shower activity or heavier thunderstorms, and that would be on Thursday. So let's just say light rain, light rain, light rain, bigger rain, and then the whole thing sort of pulls away. And out here, we are looking for Halloween right there. That's our Halloween storm, all right? More on that coming up. So by the time we get to Friday, we should see a break in the activity. Saturday, Sunday looking pretty good at this time. There you see the future tracker through Saturday, all the way to Saturday, how much more rainfall will we get. So that puts us in a good solid green and a good blue. So that means we could see 1 to 2 inches of rainfall around here. And if we get it like that, even, steady, no flooding, that kind of stuff, we'll be in great shape. It's the big floods that we worry about. For mariners and for those of you that are fishermen, just know that we have a small craft advisory up. So the winds in the afternoons will be actually fairly strong, 15 to 25 knots possibly, and choppy bays and rough seas because of the wind that's getting fairly strong. Your sunrise is at 7:34 in the morning. For those of you in Port Lavaca, we start off at 77, partly cloudy, additional shower activity, high of 85. And then in Cuero, we start off partly cloudy, 75, additional shower activity, and a high of about 80 as well. So we do have a continuing chance of showers, no big cold air, drying up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then the cold front comes in on Monday. So even Monday's high temperature forecast to be only 71. So for Halloween, it could be much cooler. I won't say cold, but cooler than it is right about now. We'll certainly be watching that for you because that's an important date for all the kiddies. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Sports Director Gina Perez.
Thanks, Karina. The in-state rivalry between the Texas Rangers and Houston Astros has lived up to the hype. Now we have a Game 7. See how we got here after the break. At Crossroads, it's week 10 of the Texas high school football season, and there are only 3 Crossroads ranked teams in the state. The Refugio Bobcats are first, and they defeat its rival, the Shiner Comanches, 26-7. With the win, Refugio now in the driver's seat for yet another district title. Refugio is still number 2 in the state behind the Timpson Bears. Refugio will play Kennedy Friday before facing off against Ganado for the district title. The Bobcats are 7-1 on the season and have not lost since week 1. The Tidehaven Tigers are like the Great Wall of China, only allowing 7 points all season. The Tidehaven defense, also known as the Children of the Corn, have given up the multiple offensive opportunities to prevent the other team from scoring, and Tidehaven will play Bowling Friday, which is the second place team in the district. The Gobblers are 8-0 and on the verge of winning yet another district title as well. Cuero beat Caldwell 62-7 during its homecoming. Now the Gobblers are going to face off against the Smithville Tigers for its final home game of the season. Cuero is ranked number 4 in the state behind Texarkana Pleasant Grove at 3, Silsbee at 2, and the Carthage Bulldogs being the top-ranked team. The Edna Cowboys, however, drop out of the top 10 after its upset loss to the Goliad Tigers. The Cowboys have lost 2 games this season, the other being to Refugio. Edna will now face the Mathis Pirates this Friday. Goliad beat Edna 21-6. The Texas Longhorns are going to be without its starting quarterback after he went down with an injury to his throwing shoulder after getting hit right there. Quinn Ewers took a big hit after scrambling away from pressure and then was out the rest of the game. As of now, the leader of the team will be week to week after suffering a grade 2 AC joint sprain on his right shoulder. Malik Murphy took the helm and led his team to a game-winning touchdown drive. Now things are heating up on who will take the job between either Murphy or top recruit Arch Manning against BYU. BYU and the Horns will play Saturday at 2:30 in DKR Stadium. Well, there are no 2 better words in sports than Game 7. And the first time these 2 Texas teams meet up in the postseason are playing in a win-or-go-home game to go to the World Series. The Astros had the Rangers against the ropes early on with a Yordan Alvarez single with bases loaded, but that was the only run they could get out of it. Not long after, Mitch Garver hit a home run to tie the game at 1. And 2 short innings later, Jonah Heim hits a shot actually that just goes over the outstretched arm of Kyle Tucker, and the game was in the balance, and Garcia shut the door with a blast that silenced the crowd in Minute Maid Park. That would essentially be the game final score, 9-2. The Astros did receive good news, however. Brian Abreu's suspension will be appealed, and now he will be able to pitch tonight if they want him to, since his suspension will be next season. Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thank you, Gina. By the way, Astros versus Rangers tonight on our sister station, Channel 19 KVCT Fox. In about 34 minutes, pregame show is on. But first,
we're going to be back in a moment. A New Jersey high school football team is being coached by the youngest coach in that state, along with one of the oldest coaches in the country.
High school football team has the youngest head coach in the state and probably the oldest coach in the country. Morristown Beard is winning under 23-year-old head coach Taj Valentine. Coaching alongside of him is 90-year-old Joe DeCesar. Now, Joe has helped coach two sports for the last 21 years, football and baseball. Joe lives near the high school and in retirement thought this might be something fun to do. Joe would like to do coaching for another 4 years. It'll be 25 years, so he'd be only 94.
I'm amazed he can still walk on the sideline. That's pretty impressive. Folks, we got a chance for more rain and pretty much every afternoon because of the moisture that's in the area and, of course, the loose atmosphere. This will continue. Keep the umbrella handy. You're going to need it at some point this week. I think we'll dry up a little bit for the weekend until that frontal system comes in on Monday. Monday night is Halloween, right?
That's Tuesday night. Next Tuesday night.
So the night before, hopefully it'll come in the night before and then be gone.
All right. Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now after Monday Night Football.